I really don't know what to say anymore. There hasn't been anything much out of me over the past 3 days because of that horrible experience. Has anyone heard of VeggieTales? I've been a big fan of it ever since I got my first DVD, which was Rack Shack and Benny. The show was really good, in my eyes, because of the characters, stories, morals, and humor. However, I have outgrown that show because I've gotten older, and I'm glad I did, because there are these new redesigns and these spin-off called VeggieTales in the House, which it's kind of a guilty pleasure. I still have a bunch of DVDs and even some old VHS tapes. I've watched them all except for one. Its name was Where's God When I'm Scared? I've actually had it before. After I got it and was about to watch it, I couldn't find it, so I decided to go to my old buddy Amazon just to look for not a re-release, not a remaster, but the original. I searched for a bit but couldn't find a copy until I got to the bottom of the results. The title of the item said, VeggieTales 1993, Where's God When I'm Scared, VHS tape good as new. I couldn't wait to get it in the mail. About a week later, my aunt and uncle, who I was living with at the time, were going on a trip. They said that if I need them to call them, at least I could watch a tape without being disturbed, because my sister was also gone to a friend's house as well. Right after they left, the mailman came out and put something in the mailbox, most likely a package. From the yellow wrapping, I could still see it around it. So after he left, I checked the mailbox, and sure enough, it was my package. I grabbed it and went into my house in my room and shut the door behind me and started to open it up. After I opened it up, I started to look at the tape's condition. Because Amazon, you could get something that looks brand new on the picture of the item, but when you wind up getting a sand-filled GameCube, the tape's box art looked like if it was copied off of Google Images, and the actual tape didn't have the label. Geez, Amazon, thank you very much, I said kind of a sarcastic way, even though I was really happy to get the tape. Since I have an old VCR, thanks to the 80s, I barely use it anymore, that I got from my uncle. I put it in the VHS tape and pressed play. For some reason, it took 9 minutes to get it working. I'm guessing because of the bad condition. After the 9 minutes of waiting, it felt longer because I was excited to watch it. The tape finally began. It seemed like everything was normal at first for the first 15 minutes of the tape. It was great until it had a great lesson. God is bigger than any monster out there, followed by a silly, funny song called the Water Buffalo song. Since I was going to finish the other 15 minutes of the silly song, it seemed like the tape got pre-painted because of the black screen for about 3 minutes. Not only I was upset, because I thought the tape didn't work. After 15 minutes or the recording or of the actual show, I was so mad that it seemed like I was scammed out of $10. But after a little completing, the show seemed to be restarted as it showed the intro again. I was a little curious because the show normally doesn't restart and over and you hear the tape rewinding inside the VCR, but it didn't. I didn't even hear the tape rewind inside. When the actual show started, it showed Bob and Larry standing on the countertop as usual, but for some reason, the atmosphere felt different, almost depressing. I mean, Bob and Larry were smiling and the background was bright and colorful, but for some reason it felt depressing. Everything was normal until they started reading the letter. Bob read the letter out loud, and it said, Dear Bob and Larry, I'm a mother of 2 children, and my youngest son died in a car accident last night. His dad fell asleep on the wheel and crashed into a tree. He was fine, but my son was killed. I don't know what to do anymore. I just hope you understand what I've been going through. Michelle. Bob looked extremely upset with the letter, and Larry didn't say anything clever or funny, which was kind of out of character for him. The show interrupted Bob and Larry before they could say anything. The show started up with Junior watching TV in the middle of the room, similar to Where's God I'm Scared, with the familiar Mom Asparagus saying, Junior, time for bed, with Junior saying, just 4 more minutes, but then he decides to turn off the television and go to his room. He hopped up the stairs and into his room. However, he was extremely scared. Even more when he was watching TV show. He thought, yeesh, that show is scary, but it isn't real, isn't it? Junior went to sleep. Then we get treated to his dreams or nightmares. There was a lot of flashing colors and shapes with Junior in the dream world. After about 30 seconds, I heard a loud booming voice that sounded like my TV speakers were at volume 100%. However, my volume was only 10%. The voice said, "You are weak, humble, disgraceful, no one." This part shocked me the most. I was jumped out by that monster that Junior watched on the TV, except it more looked like demented. Junior woke up, not with a scream, not with a cry, instead with a shocked face. It cut to 2 days later. Bob and Larry were with Mom and Dad Asparagus, and the dad said, "Junior hasn't come out of his room in 2 days. Is he sick? Is he coming down with something? Is he injured?" "We don't know because he never told us." They entered his room. Junior looked a lot worse from the last time we saw him. He was lying down straight on his bed, staring up, with bloodshot red eyes, and was drooling gaping from his mouth. Bob closed his eyes and said, "Junior looks as he's in really bad condition." This was the first time I had seen Bob this serious. It then cut to Junior again, but he was shaking rapidly and started foaming out of the mouth. He seemed like he was crying as well. It cut to the hospital building where the doctor, that looked like Ichabod, said in his British accent, "Junior hasn't slept in 3 days. He just looks shocked, almost in a coma state." His mom said to Junior, "We didn't know you were scared, Junior. You should have told us." This was getting really disturbing and uncomfortable to watch. After his mom saw that the beeper, the thing that tells you when the heart is still beating in beeps, went flat, Archie then went to them and said, "I'm sorry everyone, but Junior is dead." It was really sad. I felt as if I was going to cry because Junior was one of my favorite characters in the show. It then cuts to the picture of the Asparagus family, with Mom Asparagus in the background crying, while mixed with the words, "He's gone. I can't bring him back. I can't live like this anymore." It then showed Mom Asparagus in the kitchen, reaching for the medicine cabinet, pulling out a large bottle of pills. She finishes with the following words, "When you lose someone, you will always feel the pain, until you can't feel it all." She opens up the bottle, pours all of the pills in her mouth, and then passes out. The final image was that of the Asparagus family. It cuts back to the countertop, where Bob and Larry were even sadder from where they were when they read the letter. Bob said in a sad voice, "It's time to talk to Quarty about what we learned today." Quarty didn't work though, and Bob was getting very angry at Quarty for not working. He started bouncing off Quarty like an angry ball, getting angrier every time. Larry even told Bob to stop or he might get hurt. Bob charges at the computer, and when he hits, he splattered into pieces of tomato juice and tomato chunks. Larry ran off crying, and then he went to the edge of the countertop and said to the audience, while staring at the camera and voice, and said, "Remember, kids, God made you special, and He loves you very much. Goodbye." Larry then jumped off the counter, and when he hits the floor, he smashes into pieces. Then the episode ended with no credits, just nothing. This was a very shocking experience for me. I didn't know who made the episode. I didn't even know if I was dreaming or not. I couldn't sleep for 2 days. I kept getting nightmares about the following episode. Next day, I decided to email Big Idea, the company that makes VeggieTales, about this strange and disturbing episode. I didn't get a response until 2 weeks later, and the email said, "To whom it concerns, from Big Idea. Subject: Disturbing VeggieTales 1993, Where's God? I'm Scared. Reply. We are sorry. We have never made anything as disturbing or demented as this that we have described for us, but we understand your worry, so we may think you should get rid of it and anything else that may worry you. And remember, God made you special, and He loves you very much. Big Idea." I took their word for it and threw the tape, and along with my VeggieTales DVDs, VHS tapes, even my Bob and Larry plushies that I've had since I was little, threw them in the garbage. I tried to tell other people about it, even my closest friends and my aunt and uncle, but they didn't believe me. I was watching the news on TV, and there was a story about a father and a son that were driving that last night and crashed into a tree. The father survived, but with a few injuries, but the son died, and the mother was named as Michelle. That's strange because there was something similar to the letter that Bob and Larry read. So, the next day, I decided to drive around my home state, Arizona. After a few hours of driving, I found myself at the Grand Canyon, so I parked my car there and went to the edge. I looked down into the rocky floor at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Say with those fearful hearts, "Be strong, do not fear, your God will come. He will come with vengeance, with divine retribution. He will come to save you." Isaiah 35:4.